want to talk about crime in the UK. We talk about other countries being dangerous, like Pakistan, and how people there have been robbed or something happened to them. Everyone's scared of Pakistan. So I made a quick list of the number of crimes I've suffered. Here it is. So when I was brought up in East London, so obviously it was a bit more rough. But when I was about 11, I had an attempted mugging on me. I had some boys jump on me on my way back from a park. There were three of them older than me, jumped on me, bit my hand, tried to steal my watch. I had my bicycle stolen when I was 13 years old. I was doing a paper round, went in to post one of the newspapers. Somebody jumped on my bike. It was a little skinhead boy, jumped on my bike, rode off. I've been called the P word. I can't tell you how many times. Probably 20 or 30 times in my life, at least. The amount of fights we got into with racist people is quite a number as well. I won't count them. I've had a knife pulled on me, believe it or not. That's how unlucky I've been. I mean, I got into a lot of fights when I was younger. So I won't go into detail. My dad was robbed at gunpoint in the early 1980s. We had a shop and a man came in and robbed him at gunpoint. My mum was dropping some money off in a bank in Hackney, again in the early 80s. She was robbed in the bank while she's trying to put money in. I've had my car stolen. I had a Nissan Bluebird. That was in about the early 90s. I had a Nissan Bluebird. Window got smashed one day, 2-3 days later. They obviously planned it and they stole the car. My house burgled when I lived in Forest Gate. I had a Mercedes car which we parked up once and we left it in sort of a new area for about a week or so. When we came back to it, it had been scratched to hell by some local residents, obviously, and it was a write-off. I had my bicycle stolen. It had a lock and a chain on it, and it was stolen in Stratford. That was in the early 2000s. I had my van stolen in 2019 from Birmingham. So these are just some of the crimes. Like my son had an attempted mugging. Some boys approached him with balaclavas not long ago. My other son, his friend was stabbed in the park not long ago. I know a couple of friends whose nephews have been stabbed to death around about aged 18, 19. So this is just a quick summary of the amount of crime that goes on here. There's not one person, I think, in my family who hasn't suffered some sort of crime, not been a victim of crime at some point. There's just so many things, and we talk about crime abroad, and everyone's scared about going to Pakistan. Now, have a little think about how much crime you or your family have suffered here in the UK, and let me know in the comments, because I'm sure it's more than in Pakistan. Every time I would get in a taxi or I'd speak to somebody, I'd ask them, have you been a victim of crime? Have you been punched in the face? Have you been assaulted for no reason? Or maybe attempted robbery. It's very, very rare there. So some of them have been. But when you ask them, okay, what about your brothers or sisters or family or cousin? Anybody else been robbed? They say, oh, no, not really, no. If you look at the online statistics, you'll find that the crime rates in, for example, London or UK are much higher than they are in a place like Pakistan.